What's going on, guys? It is Christopher here, back in the building, and today I'm going to be doing my ultimate NFL season preview. So, in this video, I'm going to predict who I think will win the Super Bowl. I'm going to predict all eight division winners, the three wild cards from each conference, the AFC and the NFC, and I'm going to give you guys who I think will be the disappointments of the season and my surprise packages. Right then, so without further ado, let's get started. And my Super Bowl winner this year is none other than the Baltimore Ravens. And I think Lamar Jackson will have enough to win it all. John Harbaugh will win his second Super Bowl ring, and Lamar Jackson will win it all. But along the way, I do think Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes will play out another thrilling battle, albeit in the AFC Championship game, prior to the Super Bowl. Because I have to admit, as much as I am a fan of Patrick Mahomes, but at the same time, whether it be by luck or by skill, I think Lamar Jackson will beat Patrick Mahomes in the AFC Championship game before the Super Bowl and then finally go on to defeat whoever is in the NFC, regardless of who they play in the Super Bowl. Okay, now time to predict my division winners, my wild cards, my disappointment of the season, and my surprise package of the season, albeit from the AFC. So, my four division winners will appear on the screen now, and I think the AFC East winners will be the Buffalo Bills, because without Tom Brady in a Patriots uniform, I don't think the Patriots will succeed. Even though Cam Newton probably can do a good job, but I don't think it will be enough for the Patriots to win the AFC East once again. AFC North, I think it will be tight between the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers, with Big Ben being healthy again, but I think Lamar Jackson will have a bit too much for the AFC North, and I think the Ravens will take the division. AFC South, I think it will be a scrappy division this year because I don't see any clear cut overall powerhouse within the division. But I think the Colts might be able to just sneak the AFC South. As for the AFC West, well, that's a different story altogether. I think the Chiefs should be able to run away with the division, even though the Raiders, the Broncos, and the Chargers will all be close behind. But I don't think they'll come anywhere near the AFC West champions and the Super Bowl champions for that matter. So I think the Chiefs should take the AFC West once again. But in terms of who finishes with the best record in the AFC, I think out of the division winners, I think the Ravens, yes, controversial, I know, I think the Ravens will take the top seed. I think Chiefs will take second, Bills would take the third seed come the playoffs, and last but not least, the Colts fourth. Next up, my AFC wildcards, and they will appear on the screen right now, and they are exactly as how they are from top to bottom. Steelers being the fifth seed, Titans the sixth, Chargers the seventh. Now, the reason why I have the wildcards in the following seeds is as follows. The Steelers, I think, as I mentioned earlier, with Big Ben coming back into the frame, and he's noticeably slimmed down over the off-season and during the NFL preseason, I do think the Steelers do have a chance, potentially, of making a deep playoff run if they can get lucky, if they can run into good opponents or turn up on the day. I think Titans, last season's AFC Championship finalists, I think you never know what to expect with them under Mike Vrabel, but I think he did a very good job last season to knock out Lamar Jackson in the AFC divisional round. But as for the seventh seed, I just think it is anybody's game at the minute, whether it be the Patriots or the Chargers. In my opinion, those were the only two teams that could potentially threaten the seventh seed, because I don't see the Broncos or the Raiders doing it. Don't see anyone from the AFC South doing it, apart from the Titans for that matter. And for that reason alone, I think the Chargers might be able to nick the final wildcard spot in the AFC. Right, now time for my AFC disappointment. And I think I've mentioned them one too many a times, but I think it's none other than the New England Patriots. Because I don't question Bill Belichick as a coach, nor do I question Cam Newton as a player, despite the fact that he himself has not won the Super Bowl. But I think the Patriots as a team this season, I don't think they have enough to even make the playoffs. Despite all the hype that Belichick gets, I don't think he will live up to the hype without Tom Brady. And for that reason, I think the Patriots will be the AFC's disappointment of the 2020 NFL season. But before you guys start to question why I'm putting the Steelers as my surprise pick for the AFC, the reason why I say that is based on my predictions is that if the Steelers are the fifth seed in the AFC, and for example, if they do happen to knock out, say, the Bills or the Colts, which in all likelihood could happen, then if we were to assume that the Titans and the Chargers, which in my predictions, the other two wildcards would be knocked out, then the Steelers would take on the Ravens or the Chiefs. And I think that Big Ben's experience could pay dividends in the playoffs, and he could potentially knock out Lamar Jackson or Patrick Mahomes for that matter, because historically the Steelers have proven to be a thorn in that Ravens side. Now, without further ado, let's get started on the NFC predictions. So, as you guys can tell, my Super Bowl champion comes from the AFC, but you're probably wondering, who is your NFC champion, Christopher? Well, my money is on the Seattle Seahawks to make it to the NFC Championship team and be the NFC's representative for this year's Super Bowl. As for my division winners in the NFC, well, they are going to appear on the screen now. And starting with the NFC East, I think the Cowboys will take the NFC East because I think, let's be realistic, people, the NFC East is possibly the worst, and I mean to say this, the worst division in the NFL for quite some time now. So if the Cowboys come out and not win the division, I'll be very, very surprised coming from a Giants fan. NFC North, I think it should be close between the Vikings and the Packers, but I think the Packers should be able to take the division. NFC South, this year's division of death or division of doom, depending on how you want to say it. This year, I think the Saints will emerge as the NFC South champions. I think the Carolina Panthers under Teddy Bridgewater, I don't think they'll come close to the title. Sorry, Panthers fans. The Buccaneers, I think Tom Brady is a good addition to the side, but is he going to be enough? I don't think so. The Falcons, they'll come out swinging, but I think once again they'll fall short of the NFC South title. So I think the Saints under Drew Brees should be able to take the division of doom. And last but not least, the NFC West. Now, you're probably wondering, why is the Seahawks my NFC championship game representative even though they're not winning the title? Well, I think they will be one of the wild cards, the Seahawks, but I think the 49ers should be able to win back-to-back NFC West titles. My wild cards are going to appear on the screen right now, and they are in the exact same order as I said earlier, just like the AFC ones, with the Seahawks seeded 5th, Buccaneers 6th, and Vikings 7th. The Seahawks, I think they'll definitely have enough to make the playoffs, especially when you have Russell Wilson at your disposal. I think Buccaneers under Tom Brady, they should be able to make the playoffs. I didn't expect them to win the division title this year, but I have to admit at the same time this is a bit of a wild prediction on my part because Tom Brady going into the unknown Tampa Bay Buccaneers team, a new setting for him. Would he make the playoffs? I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't make the playoffs, to tell you the truth. And the Vikings, another wild pick, but I think in the NFC North, I think given that the Bears are struggling slightly, the Lions are struggling, no one from the NFC East is going to make it out there apart from the division winner. NFC West is going to be competitive, but I don't think the Rams and the Cardinals will have enough to threaten that final wildcard spot. And for that reason alone, I think the Vikings should be able to steal the 7th and final wildcard in the NFC. My disappointment of the NFC will surprise many a people, but I'm actually going to say the Green Bay Packers will be the biggest disappointment for the reasons that come the playoffs, I don't think the Packers will rise to the occasion, given that you've got the Saints, the 49ers, you've got the Seahawks. I think those three teams could potentially cause a lot of problems for the Packers. As much as Aaron Rodgers is a good quarterback and he has won a Super Bowl to prove it. But I don't think the Packers will live up to the hype despite their good regular season record that I am predicting that they will get. Now, last but not least, my surprise package of the NFC, none other than Russell Wilson's Seattle Seahawks. Because when you have Russell Wilson as your quarterback, what could possibly go wrong? Well, the truth is, given that he has barely had an offensive line, he has had literally nothing in his team, yet he has managed to pull out results after results, season after season. I think if any team in the NFC were to cause a surprise come the playoffs, it would surely be Russell Wilson's Seahawks. Okay, so there we have it. Those are my NFL predictions for the 2020 NFL season. Let me know what your predictions are in the comments below. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys for the next round of NFL predictions. Until then, peace out.